Super professional intro with no music so I don't get copyright struck. Struck. Yeah! Hello there, my name is Whimperman and welcome to the refit video of the HoverPed. Now I'm going to bring up my workshop list real quick. This is stuff that I've put up to the workshop. We're going to go to the very last page and it's this one, the HoverPed, my very first vehicle, kind of. I suppose technically it was. And I'm going to refit it. So all of the vehicles that are in my workshop list, excluding these three at the top, although that one doesn't really count because it's just the starter thing, but so these two were built recently, whereas everything else in this list, which is hidden, were all built before the release of the game. So I'm now going to update all that stuff, and starting with the very first one. So I'm going to spawn in the HoverPed now. Now when I first made these vehicles, I had two lines of vehicle. I called them lines. It's like a group of related builds. The first one was the Open-Cockpit utility hover vehicle, and the second lot was the enclosed cockpit utility hover vehicle. Now even at the time I didn't think the word utility quite fit, but I couldn't think of anything better to call these things, so I went with utility. But now what I'm going to do is combine both the open and the enclosed cockpit vehicles into a new line / series that I'm going to call my first run hover vehicles. Yeah, so that'll change the name somewhat. Right, let's find the HoverPed. Yeah, it was staring me right in the face. So originally, when I was building a long time ago back in the day, I built on the planet surface, as you can see from the thumbnail, and I always started my hover vehicles with this kind of crab thing. Now, I've fuck this shit, I'm out. Right, so that one's gonna do it as well, isn't it? Bye! Do you know, I did not know that they did that in space. I'm guessing it's because of these gravity generators. I could probably turn them off because, I mean, at least for the HoverPed I won't be walking around inside it, will I? Because it's tiny. Anyway, so I bye! For Pete's sake. Right, so I originally used to build them on a planet surface, and that's why I got that crab thing, was so that it would hover above the surface and I could carry on building the underside of a hover vehicle. But I've built a couple of vehicles, those Argo ships, in space, and I'm comfortable with building in space even if it's a hover vehicle. So I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. I got the construction dock in, but after that little display I think I might actually get rid of it and just build here. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, right, so this is going to be the ship I'm working on. I'll get rid of the funny crab thing in a minute. Now, as you can see, this has the full hover engines rather than the new, well, they're new to me, newer. I forget what they call them. The ground repulsors. So they certainly weren't in the game when I made this. And if we bring up my workshop again, I don't think they were in the game when I stopped playing. But if they were, they came in as I was building this last ship here, which is why none of my builds use those ground repulsors. But this HoverPed is meant to be the cheapest kind of ship, well, hovercraft that you can get. Now, as you can see, it's got a couple of blocks on it, but only a couple. But even their steel, there wasn't even carbon substrate when I built this. And as you can see, there's an RCS on it, which we don't really need anymore, especially if I'm going with the ground repulsors. So, and you can also see that that was the smallest fuel tank, and this, let's get something out to delete that. And that was the smallest generator. Yeah. So this is going to be probably smaller. The couple of blocks that are on it are probably going to be carbon substrate. I'm going to try and make it look less like a steam train. Although if you look at the change notes of this vehicle on the workshop, you'll see that it looked even more like a steam train. And I reduced the steam traininess. But yeah. So I'm going to get it started, and I'll bring you back when I've got something to show you. Okie dokie. I quite like it. This is the new one. The thing I'm not sure about is where to put the detector. And that's only because I like it on the back there on top of that box. And I like it on the front. I can't decide which one I like more. Yeah, I don't know. I think I prefer on the box better. But I do quite like it on the front. Yeah, I think on the back is just slightly better. But there we go. I think I'm done. So the idea of the HoverPed, and I think I did mention it just now, and it was just now, literally a minute ago, that I last spoke to you, unlike other builds where it was like 2, 3, 4 days ago. The whole point of this is to be able to hover somewhere for as cheap as possible. I didn't necessarily want it to be completely utilitarian and versatile, so it's not really meant to take you to a trade station with all of your loot on the back. It's not really meant for that. It's meant, you know, like pop into your mate's base because you both live on a planet, that kind of thing. Or, you know, just getting around when you very first start instead of using the motorbike. Yeah, I definitely prefer it to that one, because this one obviously needed the thrusters in order for it to move. It made it a bit chunkier, and that was because, like I said, those didn't actually exist when I played last. I didn't want to put the booster on, the jump booster, and I'm kind of okay with it. Do you know, I kind of like it in white as well. I don't know. So it's white because... Oh, come on, right button. I'm using my palette that I made when I did the Argo ships. Obviously, I haven't got anything sorted for the primary, variant, secondary, tertiary, highlight, and... what's the last one? Detail and highlight, that way round. And then these two are for interiors. That's supposed to be the engine, thruster flame colours. Yeah, I haven't decided any of that yet. A couple of my old builds, for example, the buggy, which wasn't the one I was looking for, but it's there and I found it, so I'll go to it. The speeder is also white. I don't think I should make the first run line of vehicles all white, but I quite like that. Right, so what I'm going to do now, guys, is paint it and sort out its... I mean, it's not going to take long, but I'm going to sort out its device grouping and naming. and any custom signals and stuff and signal logic. I can't imagine it's going to be much, but yeah, I'm going to have a play with it and see what colours it suits. But I do quite like it in white, you know. Right, so I'll see you in a bit, I expect, or maybe in a few days, depends how long this takes. Bye! Okie dokie, I've left it white, as you can see. I tried some shades of red and purple and blue and green and yellow, all the colours of the rainbow, but I think white looks the best on this. As you can see, I've also got a light and a dark grey on there as well. I've changed the blocks around a little bit, and I think I'm happy with it. I also went and drove it around. She's quite nippy, but then, you know, she's got two of these engines and not much else, so it's not surprising really. Right, so next I'm going to do the yeah, this isn't going to take long, the device naming and grouping. There might be headlight and tail light maybe, and then that'll be about it, I think. Yeah, cool. Right, see you in a bit then, once it's done. Right then, she's all finished. I made the decision to remove the window from the front. Not only do I not like the fact that it sticks up, and it's not quite in the right place when you're sat in the seat, but it also makes it ever so slightly cheaper, because now you don't need that bit of silicone. How much is this worth now? Oh, you still need 34 silicone, so I suppose that wouldn't have made a lot of difference. But yeah, there we go. Right, so she's finished. Nice quick one. Makes a nice change to do a nice quick one. Right, so I'm going to take its screenshots and then update the workshop. Right, so thank you very much for watching this very brief video, although the tour is going to be even briefer, because, you know, it's a tiny thing. Right, thank you very much for taking an interest in my HoverPed, and hopefully I'll see you in another video. Goodbye. Super professional outro! Just to give you time really to remove this video from your watch later list or something.